Hello everyone. By the late 80s, metal music started to become extreme. Among the bands that are extreme at this time, one would become one of the most influential and innovative extreme metal bands. That band is Carcass. As always, we're going to dive into the facts and history of this band like I've done with previous bands or entertainers. Carcass are a British death metal, melodic death metal, and earlier on were a grindcore/Goregrind band. At certain points in time, the band dabbled in thrash metal, Deathgrind, death and roll, and technical death metal. The band's influences are Discharge, Siege, Straight Ahead, Cryptic Slaughter, King Diamond, Diamond Head, Slayer, Death, Morbid Angel, Master, Napalm Death, Repulsion, and Macabre. Their lyrics are often about animal rights issues. The band was formed in Liverpool, England, UK in 1986. Carcass was originally formed as a school band by guitarist Bill Steer and drummer Ken Owen, but that was soon short-lived. Bill Steer would later join the D-Beat band Dis Attack. Bassist Jeff Walker would later join Dis Attack as well. As the band changed musical direction, they changed the name to Carcass. Ken Owen would soon join the band because of the former change. All three members would share vocal duties for the band. In the late 80s, Carcass would become a prominent band in the grindcore scene, along with Napalm Death, Extreme Noise Terror, Repulsion, Terrorizer, Macabre, and Sore Throat. In 1988, Carcass would release her debut album titled Reek of Putrefaction, and this album is considered to be the first Goregrind album. In 1989, Carcass would release her second album titled Symphonies of Sickness. This is when the band started to move into a death metal direction, but the album still had a grindcore/Goregrind sound to it, and is also the first Deathgrind album to ever be released. This would be the last Carcass album that they would record as a three-piece until 2013 Surgical Steel. In 1991, Carcass would release their third album titled Necroticism, Dischanting the Insuburious. This album shows Carcass completely ditching their earlier grindcore/Goregrind sound, keeping the death metal sound that they had on their previous record, and adding in a technical death metal sound as well. Also, this would be the first album that they would record as a four-piece, and the first one to feature guitarist Michael Amott. In 1993, Carcass released their game changer of a fourth album titled Heartwork. This album would mark the beginning of the subgenre melodic death metal, and this style would later be developed further in Gothenburg, Sweden, in the mid-90s by bands such as At the Gates, Dark Tranquillity, and In Flames. Sadly, though, this would be Michael Amott's last album with the band, and he would leave after recording it. In 1996, Carcass would release their fifth album titled Swan Song. My bad. The band would move into a death and roll sound with this album. This is the only album in their discography to feature guitarist Carlo Regadas, and the last one to feature drummer Ken Owen. In the same year that this album was released, Carcass broke up. In 2007, Jeff Walker, Bill Steer, and Michael Amott would reform the band. Sadly though, Ken Owen couldn't rejoin the band because he suffered a brain hemorrhage back in 1999, and that affected his playing. Daniel Orlandson would replace him as their drummer at that time. Michael Amott would again leave the band in 2012. In 2013, Carcass would release their sixth album titled Surgical Steel. This album shows a return to the melodic death metal sound that they previously had on Heartwork, with an added thrash metal sound to the album as well. This would be the first album to feature drummer Daniel Wilden. In 2021, Carcass would release their latest seventh album titled Torn Arteries. This album would have a death metal and melodic death metal sound to it. Well, that is all for the albums that they've released, but I'm not quite done talking about them yet. Despite releasing only 7 albums, Carcass have become a very influential, innovative, and one of the most dynamic extreme metal bands to ever do it. They've created 3 genres of music that are part of the extreme metal world. They were also an important band in the evolution of downtuned guitars, since they tuned down to B on a 6-string guitar, and that was very uncommon at the time. Carcass has had a very interesting evolution as a band, with each album sounding different from the last. You could even say that their evolution tops off Death's evolution as a band, with how many genres that they tried out over the years. Well, that's the end of this video. I hope you all enjoyed it, and if you want more like it, subscribe, like, and share this video. I'm Vaughn Wesley, and have a good one.